What's going on, NFL fans? I'm Lawrence Owen. We are here today to discuss not the Indianapolis Colts in particular. We are going to discuss actual issue the NFL has had this entire freaking season, okay? This is nuts. Look, injuries happen. Injuries happen to every team in the NFL. Obviously, it is a, next man up mentality, but with the major epidemic that has happened this season with NFL quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks, it's a lot tougher to be next man up when there's only so many viable backup quarterbacks in the entire world, right? So it is basically a race between every team in the NFL to go, hey, we got to find a guy who can come in and play even for an entire season, just in case our starting quarterback gets hurt. Why is that? I mean, come on. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that's been going on as of late. All right. This year so far, right now, Joe Burrow on injured reserve, right? Deshaun Watson, injured reserve. Anthony Richardson, injured reserve. Kirk Cousins, injured reserve. Aaron Rodgers, Tyrod Taylor, both injured reserve. They're on the list to come back, however, right? So that's a good, but they missed significant amount of times. They missed significant amount of time due to the fact that, they're just hurt. And look, a lot of these teams, if it wasn't for their starting quarterback going down and their backups not doing, let's go look at, all right, Joe Burrow. Yes, right now, Jake Browning looks like a decent quarterback. We'll see what happens. Holy crap. First off, I got to stop what I'm doing right now. Colts for Super Bowl dropped $100 in the freaking super chat. Appreciate you. Since we are playing a cat team tomorrow, your thumbnail should involve the cats. Merry Christmas. Yes, I thought about putting Joe Burrow on there. Thought about it. Should have. Didn't do it because I wanted Colts for the simple fact that, I am a Colts guy. So Anthony Richardson on there. And the other guy that's on there is scheduled to come back. Had Aaron, see what I'm trying to discuss real quick. Had Aaron Rodgers started the entire season, would the Jets have been a legitimate threat? Their defense has been freaking outstanding all season long, right? They've upset some teams. They've almost upset a bunch of teams, right? One of the best defenses in football. Had Aaron Rodgers been able to play all season, maybe they'd been maybe they'd have been ahead of the Bills. Maybe they'd been vying for the Dolphins, right? Had Deshaun Watson not been hurt the majority of the season, now out, what would they have looked like? Would they still be sitting at the record they're at? Anthony Richardson, his injury, obviously, had Anthony Richardson not got hurt, the Indianapolis Colts would have looked way different, way, way different than they are now. Now, granted, backup quarterbacks, when you got a good one, helps out a ton. But hey, first off, I want to say Colts for Super Bowl with the super chat. I appreciate it so much, and I want to let you know that is one hell of a Christmas present, man. Thanks a lot. I just got me some new. Wow, absolutely! Look at all these people. Meow. All right, so the Bengals are coming in soon. I'm going to leave this up just because. We're facing the Bengals. It's a battle of backups, right? With this game is going to look completely different having Jake Browning and Gardner Minshew than Joe Burrow, right? And Anthony Richardson. Game looks completely different between these guys. And I get it. Injuries happen. But why are they happening so often to quarterbacks right now? I don't understand that. I don't understand why it's happening so much to quarterbacks. But here's the thing. Okay, so Josh Sharp has a legit. Watson was hurting the Browns more than helping. I wouldn't say he is. And also, you got to remember, he was in, out before he finally went out for the season, right? So who's to say how he would have looked had he stayed in and been able to gain all that game time reps with the guys around him had he not gotten better with these guys, right? That's a good question. And quite frankly, there's been a lot of games that the Browns have played, right, that you're like, holy crap. Had there been even legitimate, decent quarterbacking on there, they probably would have won that game. Just saying. Just saying. It's crazy that Watson was so good when he was in Houston. He was. We'll see what happens, though. What's going on, Chaz? Appreciate you being in here. So in my thought process is the Indianapolis Colts are one of the luckier teams in the league because of their backup quarterback situation. And it makes me think we need to keep a good backup quarterback on our roster, especially, if you have a quarterback that likes to scramble, that makes you a little bit worrisome. Guy, especially when you have like design quarterback runs, things of that nature, quarterbacks could get hurt. You got to have a viable backup option. The Ravens, they understood this with Lamar Jackson. They were keeping guys on their team that ran very similar play style, right? That could be viable if Lamar went down, and it's happened multiple times over the last couple of years, right? I mean, it has. What if Mahomes goes down for the season? What if Mahomes goes down? That team is not going to look anywhere near what it does. Mahomes lifts that team up above and beyond. The amount of drops and stuff that the Chiefs have, right? I mean, Mahomes give them a chance to win games. So that's flat fact. Look at the Super Bowl last year, right? Or not Super Bowl, sorry, the NFC East, the NFC Championship. Brock Purdy goes out, right? Who do they have? Granted, they had like 3 guys go out and they're all hurt and they're all gone. But Brock Purdy goes. How do they look right now? I'm one of those people that say, look, all right, the offensive scheme for San Francisco is very, very quarterback friendly. But when you have a good or better quarterback in that offensive scheme, it lifts it even more, makes them even more dominant, right? So it is what it is. Here's can we keep Minshew or can Sam improve to a number 2 spot? That's a great question by Jeff Cena right here. Look, I don't know. Sam, I'm taking Gardner 100%. I'd love to keep Gardner Minshew long term. Sign him up for a couple year, deal. But the question is he going to be picked up as a viable starter for next year? Not necessarily to start, long term, there's no team out there that's going to look at Gardner Minshew and go, well, he's our next quarterback for the next 10 years, but they could pick him up and be like, well, he's a damn good stopgap. I mean, he's proven that with the Colts this year. He is a damn good stopgap. So if the Colts can convince him to stay for a little bit of money, I'm not saying we should drop a whole crap ton on him. I don't think we need to do like what we did with Brissett, give him $15 million a year. All right. But the fact that Anthony Richardson is on a rookie contract deal, I think we could legitimately give him a little bit of money to be that viable backup. At least that's what I'm hoping that Shane Steichen and Chris Ballard are thinking as well. Maybe they could talk him into it. I don't know, though. We'll see. Do you think that Ellinger is as a Minshew backup, arm size similar, maybe more legs? Your thoughts? They're about the same size, right? I feel like their strength. I mean, they're very similar quarterbacks. Minshew, however, there's just something about him. Okay? There's something. Minshew escapes sacks way better than Sam Ehlinger does. Okay? There's been games where you're just like, how the heck did he escape that sack? Now, can Gardner Minshew or can Sam Ehlinger move? Yes, absolutely he can. And he can run with the football, but he doesn't seem to be able to once he's in grasp, he doesn't generally escape that very well, where Gardner Minshew can. I don't know how. I watched the tape and I'm just like, I don't know. I can't believe how in the world he just escaped that, but it is what it is. I need to see more improvement from Sam Ehlinger in order for me to say he's going to be a viable number 2. That's my opinion. Now, he's made some strides. Don't get me wrong. He's made some strides since he was a rookie. But that game against the Patriots last year, oh my goodness, that soured some grapes, right? That soured some very serious grapes. That was not wine. That was just bad and needed to be thrown away. But look, would the Vikings look different if they still had Kirk Cousins? Going back to the topic, absolutely, I think they would have, right? Obviously, Tyrod Taylor was a viable option for quarterback with the New York Giants. Even with Daniel Jones and his issues and the injuries that he was dealing with behind that offensive line. Now, that's a whole different story, obviously. Offensive line play going to get your quarterbacks hurt, and that is legitimately what happens. That's what happens with the Bengals. That's what happens with the Giants. That's what happened with the Jets. It is what it is. All right, you got to put out a good offensive line, protect your quarterback, and teach your quarterback to get rid of the football, right? Get rid of it quicker. Don't sit there and hold it for 2.7 seconds. You get rid of that sucker in 2-3, 2-4, right? Because all the rules in the NFL today protect the quarterback. You can't hit them too high. You can't hit them too low. You can't land on them with your body weight. You can't tell their mother that they're look sideways in a mirror. There's all sorts of rules out there that protect quarterbacks in the league. All you got to do is do your part, and you should be okay. But you need an offensive line in order to help you get to that point. Good thing the Indianapolis Colts this year, the offensive line has definitely stepped up for them, right? Look, let's look at some other teams right now. You got some teams, like I said, if Buffalo loses Josh Allen, and I know a lot of you are going to be like, well, Josh Allen's one of those volatile quarterbacks, but he's still a guy that every play can bring you back into a game. He can cost you a game, but he can bring you back into a game, right? You lose him, all of a sudden, Buffalo Bills ain't the Buffalo Bills no more, right? Dak Prescott goes. If Dak Prescott goes, Cowboys go. In the playoffs, I don't think it really freaking matters historically whether Dak Prescott or anyone else is there. But, until they change my mind about that. But during the season, Dak Prescott, top dude. Jalen Hurts. Who's going to replace Jalen Hurts if he gets hurt? The Lions and Goff. It is what it is. It's tough to deal. Right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers, here we go. Patriots beat the Steelers. Yeah, absolutely. But look at Steelers. Look how many quarterbacks that they're dealing with right now. They don't have a legit 1, let alone a legit 2, right? At least Mac Jones is a borderline starter. And same as the backup, who was that? Zappy Bailey, right? That come in and played. He's a borderline backup starter. I think Mac and him are kind of similar in that situation, right? What Cleveland do? They went out. They were so hurt for needing a backup quarterback. They went out and got an ancient quarterback, hasn't picked up a football in forever who is sitting on the couch. All right. Dude who can't move at all. Right. Joe Flacco stands there like a statue. But if you got an offensive line, that's fine. So, I'm expecting maybe Cleveland might do a little bit better moving forward, as they start to get used to the way Joe Flacco can't move around the way their other quarterbacks can, because that Cleveland offensive line is pretty good, right? Marcus Mariota, I understand, is Hurts' backup. I wouldn't use Marcus Mariota, though. He's one fall away from being done for the season because of his elbow, right? That's the thing with Marcus Mariota. He's got that nerve injury thing going on with his elbow. He lands on that wrong. He can't grasp a football. And that's been going on with him for years now. That's the reason why the Titans let him go. The problem is, and I'll be straight honest with you. Obviously, you got scrambling quarterbacks that can run. That's going to get hurt because they run. AKA Anthony Richardson, AKA Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or something like that. But if you got guys that's getting hurt in the pocket, it's because your offensive line is trash, and that happens so much. And teams today are so focused on paying wide receivers and quarterbacks all this umpteen money that they let their offensive line go. All right. And because they do that, they open it up for their quarterbacks to take shots. And that right there, it happens and you're done. Right? Burrow's been on IR, 3 times in the last 4 years or some crap like that? I mean, come on. Or, since he's been in the league. That's nuts. That's crazy. Man, at least Andrew Luck went his first, 4 years without having an injury, and then they started to pile up due to his play style, plus the offensive line was crap. If you already have a quarterback that scrambles, you're like, well, get a quarterback that scrambles because your offensive line is crap and you don't want him to get hurt. That's just going to multiply the chances of him getting hurt. Always focus on getting your offensive line fixed. Don't put out a future of your franchise without some kind of assurance that your offensive line can at least somewhat protect him. That's how I see it. Absolutely. Daniel Jones his offensive line is garbage. Garbage. All right, guys. I spent almost 20 minutes talking about what I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and kick that off. And we will talk a little bit about the Bengals-Colts game tonight. All right. Appreciate each and every one of you. Please smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell. Hit that note. I got 5% of my subscribers have notification bells on. Like for all notifications. Only 5%. I've noticed that. It said so in my analytics. You guys are missing out. I'm telling you, if you ain't got all notifications turned on. And also, it takes 24 hours for notifications to hit you, up to 24 hours. So just FYI, I was told that by a YouTube guy. Actually, I think it was a female. I was on a call with him, and because I was complaining about some stuff, and I learned a few things. So let's get into this whole situation with the Indianapolis Colts. All right. Joe Roach wants to know, how do we scheme defense against the Bengals' new quarterback? You play him just like you would play Joe Burrow. You got to get pressure on him. Don't allow him to sit in that pocket and pick you apart. All right? You got to get pressure. If you can't get pressure on that first drive with your front four, then you better start scheming up ways of getting it. All right? That's how I see. Also, let's confuse him. He's a young guy. He doesn't have that many starts. Let's confuse him by changing the looks of our secondary. Make it look like we're in cover 2 when we're in cover 4. Make it look, if we're in cover 3, make it look like we're in cover 3, but we actually in man, or vice versa. Things of that nature. You know, that's what you got. You got to confuse him and you got to pressure him. That is the best way of dealing with a young quarterback like him. At least that's my opinion. Speed's in here. He says Steelers losing 3 in a row seems strange, assuming the Colts win next week against them. Well, we'll see if they do. A lot of people are saying that Mike Tomlin might be on the hot seat. I don't know. Mike Tomlin's one of those untouchable people. Their team has just been garbage. And don't forget, hey, JJ Watt or TJ Watt right now is in concussion protocol. So, you know, that's like half their defense right there. But it is what it is. Should teams have insurance to their insurance? Oh, that's a good possibility. It's tough, though. If it's already so hard to get a backup quarterback in the league, how do you get a viable backup to your backup? That's tough. That's tough. I'm okay, perfectly okay with Sam Ehlinger being the third string quarterback. Okay. Right now, perfectly okay with it. And don't forget, we got Kellen Mond right now on the practice squad. So, you know, that's something that Chris Ballard has learned over the years, is how important backups are, not just for quarterbacks, but for every position on the team. And that's why that's why we're 7-5 right now. It's because we had, yes, a lot of youth, but talented youth that just needed experience. And now that they've gotten some experience under their belt, they're playing a little bit better. And now we are where we are. All right, a lot of reaction to what Speed says here. I figured out why Gardner doesn't see pressure unless it's in front of him. His eyes are close together, and that feature limits peripheral vision. Oh, my God. So what you're saying is he needs a couple mirrors right here on the bridge of his nose so he can see around the outside of his helmet, right? All right, I got you. I'm gonna email him that right quick and let him know that is your solution to helping him with his peripheral vision. But it is what it is. Man, I'm excited. The game tomorrow is going to be kind of fun. Tough. It's weird. What doesn't get me is the Colts opened up as 1.5 point favorites in this game. That opened up that way, and now the Bengals are 2.5 point favorites. I think that Vegas was messing with the books to try to get more push in a different direction. Because right now, I think after the way the backup quarterback played, they already knew what that was. They already knew how that was, how he looked, right? So it's not like they opened it up because they didn't know how Browning was. They knew when it opened. So my thought process is I think they were just trying to adjust where they were getting bets. Yes, absolutely. Stewart is back tomorrow, so that's going to help our defensive line. Look, the Bengals have so many weapons. They might be the most powerful team offensively when it comes to skill positions. They got Joe Mixon at running back. They got 3 decent wide receivers. They got a good tight end. I mean, this team is outstanding. The thing that's really hurting them, their secondary, their linebackers, and their offensive line. people say, well, the Bengals, they address their offensive. No, just because you sign some people or draft some guys doesn't mean it's been addressed. Doesn't mean that they're playing well, right? We just got to go in there and beat them. And I think the Colts can. So that's fun times. Fun times coming up. Now, if the Colts, and I asked my guy Donald Thomas yesterday, if we beat the Bengals, does that validify the past 4 wins that they've had against teams? And he said no. He said if it was Joe Burrow, then yes. But this guy, you know, Browning, he's only got a game and a half under his belt. There's now officially film on him that the Colts can go in and work on. And let's face it, the Jaguars did not get any pressure on him. I mean, the only couple pressures that happened on him that game pretty much was Josh Allen, the defensive end, right? And he's going to get his because he's a damn good defensive end pass rusher. But I think the Colts overall have better all the way across the board, plus depth. So I think we can get pressure on this young quarterback. The problem is last week he had a very, very high, low time to throw. It was like 4.2 seconds, or sorry, 2.27 seconds or something like that is what it was. Very, very low. It's tough to get a sack in a situation like that. But what you can do is if you could get penetration and you could make him adjust his angle or pull that down or get a hand on it, we might not get all the sacks, but we can make him, throw before he's ready or change the angle of his delivery or just pull it down and move, things of that nature, right? You can affect guys who gets rid of the ball quicker than quarterbacks who hold it longer. You just got to get in there and get pressure, get in his face. That's all you got to do. And then that will create you some opportunities. So I think we can actually pull that off. How do you get all these connections and availability of the NFL players? Well, started off, honestly, it was just lucky. I was just lucky. Perseverance with the Indianapolis Colts organization in the first place about 5 years ago. Just perseverance, constantly calling, saying, hey, I want to interview, but I was being respectful and staying within their rules. And then once I started getting those interviews and stuff, then players outside of the organization, retired players and stuff, started coming to me and became part of my me talking to me, getting to know me a little bit. It's really cool. I feel blessed that I have so many connections across the NFL right now because you got not only Colts players, but most Colts players have played with other teams, right? And because they've been with other teams, they have connections. They bring in guys from other teams. Like, for instance, when I interviewed Brandon Graham, we had Brandon Graham on the show. Now I got connections with him, people like that. Like right now, for instance, Rodney McLeod and Stephon Gilmore, right? Those are guys, absolutely love talking to them. And because of that, I could get connections to other people. And it just rolls on more and more and more and more. And I just keep those connections. Like my son come up to me, I think it was like right at the beginning of the season. And he was like, he had my phone and he was scrolling through my phone. And he was like, Dad, you should sell these numbers. And I just looked at him like, no, dude, you and I need to sit down and have a conversation, right? You can't be doing that. No. That was awful. Thoughts on our playoff chances with a win or a loss? With a win, I think we're basically in. Obviously, we got to continue it going, but I feel like if we're good enough to beat the Bengals and we're good enough to beat the majority of the other teams that we play against this year, if we lose against the Bengals, I think it'll be tough sledding. Still possible to get in, right? We're not out of it. We're 7-5. We're in the 6th seed right now. Not every team is going to win out 5 straight, right? We may not win out 5 straight. I don't think we have to. You don't have to be 12-5 to get in the playoffs. But that's what the Colts would be if they won straight. They lose one game, 11-6, still playoff berth. I think it's possible a 10-5 team. I think one or two 10-5 teams will get in. Probably a couple 10-5 teams will not get in. I don't want to be 10-5. So it is what it is. I would like to at least walk in 4-1 in these last 5 weeks to guarantee, in my opinion, that we would get in. Hello, Owen. Me and my mom went to see a play called White Christmas. What did I miss? Oh, hey, what's up? Oh, not a lot. A lot of ranting about the NFL. You could always go back, scroll all the way back to the beginning, play it from the beginning if you'd like to. But I've talked about way too much for me to just repeat, a half an hour worth of stuff. Doing a live show today. Man, I missed that. What's up, Basil? Yeah, I thought, you know what? I needed to come in and discuss this. It was on my mind. I know that I don't do a whole lot of live shows. And I thought, you know what? It's a Saturday. It's the day before a big game. Let's do this. I don't know how long I'll be here, but let's do this. What's going on, Don? Appreciate you being in here. Guys, have you hit that like button yet? I want to repeat what I said. 5%, only 5% of my subscribers have all notifications turned on. What? Come on, guys. Y'all can help me out here. I also found out why you're not notified immediately. It takes up to 24 hours for notifications to go out. All right. I've been trying to talk Donald Thomas into doing a live stream with me. We damn near did one this week, and then that kind of fell through. So it'll happen at some point. Absolutely, Jeff. Absolutely. Thing that worries me, Trey Hendrickson is a good pass rusher for the Bengals. All right. Now, Trey generally will sit as over the left tackle, but since, Smith is going to be out and Freeland's going to be in over there at right tackle, Hendrickson might go over there because Freeland's pass blocking has been pretty hot garbage this year. He's done okay in the run blocking, but he's given up so many pressures, it's not funny. Yes, and you look at it and go, well, he's only given up 2 sacks. Yeah, but he's given up like 10,000 pressures, right? Most of the time when AR or Minshew had to roll out and escape a pressure, a lot of those times was because of Blake Freeland. And it's worrisome. So keep an eye on where Trey Hendrickson will be the all game tomorrow. All game. All right, because he is a legit dude. Wait, Jonathan Taylor's out for the season. When did that happen? Who said that Jonathan Taylor's out for the season? From what I understand, because first off, he just got told. I mean, he wasn't counted out for tomorrow's game until yesterday, right? Jonathan Taylor's not out for the season. They're expecting him anywhere between 3 and 5 weeks. He may be back. He'll probably, from what I'm understanding, be playing the Texans. So But he is out for the game. Yes. But anyhow, with Michael Pittman still playing for a run, backup Jonathan Taylor and the Bengals quarterback out for the season. Burrow is on IR. He's done. Yes. Maybe you're talking about Zach Moss playing the role. I feel like that should actually, he didn't do well against the Titans, but the Titans defense always plays us very, very tough. Mike Vrabel led defense. I think we'll run much better against the Bengals than what we did against the Titans. Yeah, the first report was missing 2 to 3. Now they're saying 3 to 5. Either way, I think he'll be back by the Texans game. We'll definitely need him for the Texans game. Something fun to deal with. But my problem is, man, the receiving core of the Bengals are so good, you have to get pressure because we play too much zone defense to have 3 good receivers out there against us. It's zone. The best way to affect the passing game in this game is to get pressure, period. If we do not end up with 5 sacks in this game, we lose this game. That's just my opinion, right? And we've been averaging over 5 sacks a game the last 4 weeks. But we're going to need to because of the amount of weapons that they have on Cincinnati and the way Browning looked when he's not under pressure. He's pretty damn accurate and can throw the ball just about anywhere he wants. But, yeah. But really excited about the game tomorrow, though. What we got here, I believe that we can have the ability to blitz because I believe Brown can hold his own and Juju will be back. I know that, well, hey, by the way, I don't know if Juju will be back. He is questionable. He did have a couple limited practices, but he's questionable to return. So that's good. And I'm excited. I'm a little worried because, I mean, one thing I can say is, we can't forget that we have Kenny Moore, right? Kenny Moore, great slot guy. So, and Baker's been damn good the last few weeks. I mean, damn good. Like the best corner we have on our team, damn good, right? The last few weeks. And a little worried about Jones. Jones, he has his up and down moments. Doesn't tackle very well, though. Brent's is more of the tackler. But yeah. Yes. 37 sacks by our defensive line, most in the NFL. Our defensive line has 37 sacks, which means there's only 5 sacks that the defensive line does not have that the Colts have, right? That says a lot. That means that that's the reason why we only have 14.5% blitz percentage, because we do not need to send more guys generally. This is a game where I don't know, I might send one extra dude once in a while. I don't think he plays either, Basil. I don't think he play. I think he'll probably play next week, but not tomorrow. But who knows? We'll see what happens. Maybe he gets a few snaps. I don't know. Most of the NFL, you should bring that up multiple times more. I've brought that up so many times, it's not funny already. And you all know it because I'm like posting it everywhere, Twitter and on PFF videos and stuff like that, right? It is what it is. Uh, guys, if you want to help support the channel, you can absolutely do so by smashing that like button and subscribing, sharing to your favorite social media. And if you want to help financially with this upcoming holiday season, help me out a ton by, making sure that all my bills and subscriptions are paid for so that I can continue doing what I'm doing for you guys. Use that link in the description where it says Streamlabs. It's just like a super chat, except Streamlabs don't charge nearly as much as YouTube does for those super chats. So, but YouTube super chats, awesome. Appreciate that as well. All right. And the thing about if you use Streamlabs, and also, hey, I got a merch shop. You can also use the merch shop down there. I think I'll probably be redoing my merch shop pretty soon, adding some more stuff. But yeah. So I appreciate each and every one of you in that no way. I like it better when he starts crying about not blitzing him up and getting the commenters going. I do. I still think he should blitz a little more. I really do think he should blitz a little more. Still to this day, right? I don't like dead last because it means that you are, offensive coordinators can get lax in that. They don't have to worry about the blitz. They don't have to worry about where it's coming from, where the pressure is coming from. Now, doing it so little means that when we do it, I just said do it. When we do blitz, it's, a bit of a surprise, and it usually ends up working. The NFL Pro Bowl has the all outside linebackers stat set to sack, so I had to scroll all the way down to vote for our players. It's been that way every year. It's always been that way, and that's why when, like Shaquille Leonard and them, they complain so much about it, about how, when you're an off the ball linebacker, but you're not a blitzing backer, right? They should have a difference between OLB and a 4-3 and an OLB and a 3-4. OLB and a 3-4, yes, like JJ Watt, right? Or TJ Watt, my bad. What's going on, Brandon? Appreciate you. You're upset. Upset about what? Hey, I'm already been in here 45 minutes. That's awesome. I can't believe I've already ran a live stream for 45 minutes. Huh. That's awesome. There was questions on if the Indianapolis Colts make a deep playoff run, could Anthony Richardson come back? Would you start him over Gardner Minshew? That's a question for another day, but it's interesting. Okay, Brandon. One, maybe two more a game. Gus and Ron doing a fantastic job with the DBs, and a big part of it is because those zones are small. The thing that I have noticed about this year's zone is the guys are drifting more in their zones, and that's a good thing. Like they drift towards not just where the quarterback is looking, but like kind of got a feel for where guys are in their zones when they come in, and they'll drift towards that guy if the quarterback looks in that general direction, right? I like that. That's called a tight zone. It's where you're like a sticky zone. Okay. Where a sticky zone, no, I'm sorry, that's not sticky zone. That's drifting zone. A sticky zone is when a guy comes into your zone, you immediately attach yourself and follow him until he leaves your zone, and then you hand them off. You'll see that quite a bit as well. I like the drifting zone more than I do sticky zone, because if you play a sticky zone, there are very, very easy ways for a quarterback to manipulate that with different types of routes. Okay. And I don't like that a whole lot. I have a question for the Texans. Huh. I probably am going to be ending this here shortly, since I'm already well over 45 minutes, but a little bit of discussion there. Can't wait to break down the film for the Bengals game as well. It is true. Absolutely. Z is not the best coverage linebacker. Right. Speed is better at coverage. Speed is also quicker. Z is more of a downhill blast your ass type linebacker, right? And that's why I like Z. Z's a no nonsense. Go out there and lay the wood on somebody. Should we play more man? Chaz asked. Yes. And we have a little bit. All right. We do play more man than what we did when we were in Eberflus's scheme. Or at least I've noticed that this year. We do play probably about 30% man coverage. I've noticed that quite a bit. It also helps a lot when you have young guys, right? But we do play a lot. We do still play a mostly zone, but he does change the type of zones up a lot. We're not all cover two, play a lot more cover three now than what we have in the past. And occasionally you'll see quarters, which is nice. So they do change their schemes up and their base. So the more experience these young corners get, the more versatile and more different styles of uh, defense you'll see from this team. Which is why I like. Uh, if if only we had kept. I'm crying about that. I don't know if we would have had the money, right? In all honesty, I mean, I get it, but no one knew that. You know, no one knew that a certain linebacker was going to drop off and stay dropped off. They were trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay. I get it though. Bobby's been freaking cooking out there in New York. Absolutely cooking. Uh I think we could play man in a cover one and then leave the safety as a zone to just kind of free move around and help over the top in certain situations. But it's difficult to do that with two safeties, right? So in a situation like that, you can only be rushing with three if you're going to cover the rest of the guys man to man and have two safeties free ranging, which they've done. I've seen the Colts do that this year. Maybe 2 games ago, I think I saw them do that. Rush with three, play man coverage, and then had two safeties in the deep zone. And we ended up getting a sack off that play. It confused the hell out of the quarterback, right? Something you just don't see a lot. I know you did, Base. A lot of people did say that. I'm talking about the Colts organization. Colts for Super Bowl. This will be the last question. I'm going to come on, then I'm going to probably jump off here, guys. Thoughts on the old coordinators? Nick Sirianni's been lighting it up pretty good. Still misses, obviously. They miss our head coach as their offensive coordinator because their offense just hasn't looked the same. But he's a very outspoken, opinionated guy, right? And I think he's got a long career in Philly. Matt Eberflus, on the other hand, he may not have his job at the end of this year. He's supposed to be a defensive. Now, he may, because after they went out mid-season, I think he will still have his job at the end of this year. Mid-season, they went out and made some moves to help get Eberflus guys that he wanted. And when they did that, they started looking much better on defense. I still think that they need to fix their offense, but I think Matt will probably survive this year with the Bears. He does. He does. We play Nick Cross on the field, but you got to remember the reason Nick Cross. Okay, so this is the last one. The reason Nick Cross wasn't on the field is because he wasn't taking practice serious enough. He wasn't taking meetings serious enough, right? Gus Bradley affirmated that when asked about it. Nick Cross wasn't putting 110% into the team. He was being lackadaisical, right? And they said once he started showing 100% putting in all the effort and the focus during practice and meetings, then he would see the field more. Hindsight, now he's starting to see the field more. So it is what it is. All right, guys, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video. I'm going to check Streamlabs real quick just to make sure no one dropped any money there because, I do that. Nope, nothing there right now, but I appreciate each and every one of you. And hopefully I will see you tomorrow for the Bengals Colts game. And until next time, as usual, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. And I want you to have a good one.